We're about building relationships, basic human relationships, relationships based on communication, based on trust, based on caring for each other. And those types of relationships have been shown time and time again to have an incredible impact on young people's lives.
I was reading in the literature about some of the impacts. The statistics are very impressive in terms of the benefits. I think it said people were half as likely to miss days of school, and there were impacts on unwanted pregnancies and arrests and all
Mm-hmm.
kinds of things that.
Yeah, we're fortunate. Big Brothers Big Sisters did a nationwide survey or nationwide evaluative research project on Big Brothers Big Sister matches and compared them with young people who hadn't been matched with a big brother. And what they did was they took this same group of young people. Half of them got a big brother big sister, half of them didn't.
Mhm.
And after 18 months, just 18 months of being in the program, we found that young people were less likely to use alcohol and drugs, that they were less likely to use violence as a form of solving problems, that they were 4 times less likely to become pregnant or get somebody pregnant, 4 times less likely to be arrested.
Mhm.
They had greater communication skills and greater trust, and not only with their big brother or big sister, but with their peers and with their family. They attended school more, and really had a better sense of what they could achieve as an individual.
Well, that's really very impressive, those results. So, if people are wondering if they could be a mentor and how hard it would be, I guess the statistics are showing that just by being there with the bigs and the littles, I think you call it
Mm-hmm.
in your literature, just for the big mentor to be with the little mentee has almost an immediate effect, or within a year or 18 months, there's really quite a change in the outlook
Right.
of the mentee.
Yeah.
So that's a very powerful thing, isn't it?
And but and I know some people think, wow, that seems like such an awesome responsibility. But the truth is, I've been a big brother now for 4 years, and it's been an opportunity for me to be a kid again. As a big brother, I do things like I take my little brother to a basketball game. We go to the Warriors game a few times a year. We go to the Giants. We've been to a football game. And some of these sporting events I'd never been to before. So it was a great opportunity for me. I'd only watched them on television. And then we do simple things like, this week we're going to see each other. We're going to take a bike ride and go have, breakfast at a restaurant. And we've done things like bake cookies, paint pottery for Mother's Day. So there's just really a lot of different things that you can do.
So it's really quite simple then. I mean, you have a background in counseling actually, but people don't need to have a counseling background to know how to do this. It's more about being themselves in a way that's.
And that's, one of the things that's really important about Big Brothers Big Sisters is that we have a professionally supported system of care for our matches throughout the life of their relationship. So from the moment that somebody calls our organization, they're connected with staff that are professionally trained to work with them, to support them, and to train them and coach them on issues that they might be dealing with. And so for a lot of people who've never worked with kids but want to have a child in their life, this is a great opportunity because we'll provide training for you. We'll provide about 12 hours of training initially, and then we have individualized training and a counselor that you work with one-on-one when things come up. And so if you're curious about, well, how can I set limits with my little brother? And, you call your counselor and, you have a conversation about it, and we'll coach you on things that you can do and what you can say. So it's really a great opportunity to connect with a young person, and you don't have to have any experience in working with youth.
That's really very nice because then people don't have to feel afraid that they don't have enough experience or maybe they haven't had children of their own, and that doesn't really disqualify them or make it impossible to do this work. Now I know that you're centered in the North Bay, and I know a lot of people are kind of surprised when you talk about Marin, that there would be a need even in Marin County. Is that an accurate perception that Marin has less need than other places, or?
I think that there's definitely a stereotype that there's no need in Marin. We're fortunate in Marin County itself, in that there are definitely some communities of affluence, but then there's also a lot of communities of need. There's particular areas of Marin that are really in need of, additional support. Marin City, the Canal, Novato, are areas that, there's families and children that are significantly in need. And if you look at sort of the demographics of the youth we're serving, 85% of the youth we're serving are living in poverty, and living in a single parent home. And about a third of the youth that we serve have one or both parents incarcerated in prison. And there's a significant proportion of young people that we're working with where their parents have alcohol or drug use issues. So it's I would say that it's definitely a stereotype that there's no need in Marin, and I think that's one of the great opportunities that our organization has is to serve some of those young people. Now, that's not to say that, living in poverty is the only sort of requirement in terms of needing a big brother or a big sister. We have a lot of middle class and even affluent families that may not have, additional support for their children. And so, we do occasionally have some of our young people that then live in some of the more affluent communities who had a parent who died and is in need of a caring, supportive adult role model. And so we match some of some of those young people to big brothers and big sisters as well.
I suppose when the program began, there was, as you say, it began mostly focused on young men,
Mm-hmm.
and then expanded to women. As we're moving into the 21st century, there's more and more sort of different subgroups that need to be addressed. How does Big Brothers and Big Sisters deal with gay youth? I know there are some programs specifically in San Francisco, but how does that fit into the paradigm?
For us, it's interesting because our role, and our goal is to really work with young people, to get them in our programs as early as possible. So young people get involved in our programs as early as 6, and by the time they're about 14, young people tend to not want to have an adult mentor in their lives. Developmentally, it just so many young people are more focused on their peers at that point in
Mm-hmm.
time. And so we really work very hard to try and match young people in our programs between the ages of 6 and 14, and then keep them in our programs until they graduate out at 18. So we have a number of young people who identify as gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender, but they didn't when they first started in our program.
I see, right.
So, we serve those young people, and we provide support to those mentors that are working with those young people.
Mm-hmm.
So we have some really, really well-intentioned big brothers and big sisters who come to us and say, I'm beginning to suspect that my little brother or my little sister might be gay. What do I do?
Mm-hmm.
And so we talk about being supportive of them, using non-gender specific language when you're talking about who they're interested in, letting them know that you're supportive of them no matter who they like and what they like, and it's I think it's a great opportunity for some of those young people, because I think I think for a number of people who come out as gay and lesbian, it's easier to understand support from somebody else who's gay and lesbian, but to have somebody who's supportive of you and loves you and cares about you that doesn't identify as gay and lesbian is also really exciting.